Hello, I don't know how to test the sound on this. This is a test of the live streaming, and I'm going to try to go through my workout today. I haven't gone through it for quite a while, way too long, but as you can tell. But this is me trying to get back into some kind of physical and emotional shape in the time of crisis. And this is not a lesson, but if you know some Tai Chi and you want to join me, feel free to practice on your own. I'm going to be doing zhan for the first hour, so that should be interesting. And then I'll be going through some of the basic routines that I practice. And yeah, this is, again, not a lesson. If you want to learn Tai Chi, find a teacher. I have classes that I do online at sinclairinternal.arts.com. And you're welcome to stop by there if you like. But again, there are lots of really good teachers, lots better than me, that's for sure. And yeah, this is it. So, zhan, if you're interested, is a sort of a standing meditation, but it's learning how to be before you try to learn how to do. Another way I like to say it is step 1, achieve enlightenment. Step 2, practice. But so zhan is learning how to relax the mind and the body. And when we talk about mind and body here, it means they're both the same thing. So mind and body are inseparable. Every time you have a thought, there's an emotion. Every time there is an emotion, there is a physical response. So people think, really? How does that work? Oh yeah, right. Okay. So if you get angry, your liver clenches. If you're pensive, your spleen tenses. If you're frightened, your kidneys and adrenal glands tighten up. If you're sad, your lungs. If you're bitter, then the heart clenches, and so on. But if those organs are happy, then the kidneys are gentle, and the liver is disciplined, and the lungs are brave, and the heart is compassion and awareness, and the spleen is focus and concentration. But this happens when the body is relaxed and the different tensions in the body don't have all of these emotions fighting against each other or fighting for position. So you want the energy to move and be natural and relaxed. And the way to do that is to relax everything from the top of the head to the tailbone so it becomes relaxed like a cloud. So you relax the head and neck and shoulders and chest and back and waist and hips and knees and the ankles and feet. And you relax the psoas muscle. That allows the lower back to drop open. That allows the lungs to expand because the diaphragm is not meeting resistance when it contracts and pushes down. So the breathing actually starts in the base of the pelvis and goes up the back and through the front. And the breath actually expands here. Right, because the diaphragm is pushing down and that stuff is getting out of the way. If you're tense, if the psoas muscle is tight and it's sort of pulling the spine forward like that, then the diaphragm can't move. But if you open it and you relax it, then the diaphragm can contract and push down and the lower belly expands naturally. And then while most people breathe between 8 and 20 times per minute, you will breathe between 1 and 4 times per minute. The breath is deep and relaxed and slow and gentle, and you grant in this nice blissful state. Now here's the thing. If you relax everything, if you relax the psoas muscles, then you can balance the body like a string of pearls balanced on end. And that's great. But you have to hold the body up somehow. And that job goes to the quadriceps. So if you turn your toes forward, relax the lower back, relax the hips, and you let the weight settle into the thighs, then your thighs will do all of the work of holding you up with a little bit of assist here and there from little tiny muscles in the spine, the rotatorius and so on and so on. So the hips will relax, the butt relaxes, the pelvis relaxes, the tailbone drops back, the psoas muscle relaxes, and you balance more and more precisely until there is no tension needed to hold you up. And when that happens, your cerebral cortex, the brain, the human resources department in the brain that manages all of the different personalities in the body, it doesn't have to deal with all of the infighting. So the brain can relax. Cerebral cortex can do its job. of managing at a higher and more subtle level. And that's what we want. So when I stand, I relax. I engage the earth with my quadriceps. And so I'm pushing down into the earth, and then I'm relaxing everything else. So the waist relaxes, the pelvis relaxes, the chest, the rib cage relaxes, so that all of the ribs hang from the spine like a shirt hanging from a hook. And each rib hangs from the one above it, so the intercostal muscles relax. So I'm not breathing shallowly into my chest. Instead, I'm relaxed and breathing naturally down into my belly. And there are various ways and postures to use when you do this. Now your thighs will cook. If you do this right, everything from the top of the head to the tailbone will be as relaxed as a cloud, like a vapor. And you will be able to fry eggs on your thighs. And gradually the spine will relax and straighten up. The shoulders will sink. You will let go of tension that you never knew you had. And postural alignments will correct themselves. You may find yourself having little spontaneous adjustments, like a shiver or shake, or you may need to move. That's okay. If you need to move a little, crack, snap, pop, that's fine. And then go back to that neutral place. We sometimes call this position wuji, meaning non-duality. So wuji means that yin and yang are not separate from each other. They are still and they combine. So there is no differentiation between any part of the body and any other. The mind is empty and clear. It can see everything. There is no differentiation between thought, emotion, and posture, and no differentiation between past, future, and present. You are neither existing nor not existing. And as you breathe, the lower belly will expand as you breathe in, and the pelvis will relax, and the lower spine will move and open backwards a little. And as you breathe out, the lower belly will contract, the pelvis will very, very gently rise up a little. You don't have to do anything to make that happen. And the lower back will just wave back and forth a little. And I usually stand like this. Sometimes people call it the Tai Chi posture, the Tai Chi post. I won't bother getting into why right now because my mind is just starting to settle down. And I'll see you in an hour or so. So that was not quite an hour. Oh, is that a... You should turn it on. Anyway, maybe this sound works, maybe it doesn't. Anyway, that was about an hour. Now, as I said earlier, every time there's a thought, there's an emotion, and every time there's an emotion, there is a physical response. Well, this is true. Let me double check to make sure. Okay, let me wind up here first. Oh, what? Here we go. Okay, good. Wow, that feels good. Okay. Now, as I said earlier, every time there's a thought, there's an emotion, and every time there's an emotion, there's a physical response. And this is also, the converse is also true. So every physical tension in your body will affect your emotions, and every emotion will affect your thought processes. So your physical tension and any knots or residual tension or things that you hold in your body, or any places where the body is fighting against itself, these are things that will inhibit your thought processes. They'll affect your personality. They'll affect how you view and how you vote and everything. So with the standing Qigong, with the zhan, what you are practicing is not how to hold a rigid posture. It's not how to hold a posture still. It is learning how to find the stillness and the balance that allows you to be empty. So you're looking for emptiness, meaning that perfect balance where you're not fighting or doing anything, where you don't have thoughts going through your head. If you improve your posture, your mind will calm down. If you calm your mind, the body will want to calm down. And if there are tensions or imbalances in the body, then calming the mind will make you aware of those imbalances. And it's like the body is listening to the mind is listening to the body, and everything in between it has to reconcile those two. So if I have tension from driving or fighting or doing too much sword work with my right hand and not enough with my left sword work, then I will have all these patterns in the body that will need to be resolved. And in the course of standing, these things start to become apparent. And as I breathe in, I'll say, oh, gee, the mind suddenly becomes aware of tension. And it said, oh, we need to relax that. And how do you do that? Well, normally, if you're really good, if you've been doing zhan for a while, it will just relax. And you'll say, oh, I need to relax, and it will relax. And if you get really good at it, and after a while, you go to a massage therapist, and they don't have to push on the knot for a long time for it to let go. They just touch it, and it dissolves. So, but in the meantime, while you're doing this stuff, the problem is that all of that tension is involved with other tension. So you may have tension in your shoulders, but that's related to your feet. Or you may have a tension in your knee, and that's related to your right ribs. And so all of this stuff gets translated and cantilevered and whatever. I'm making up words now. Anyway, the idea is that you want to relax, so you have to move, and you have to open this up, and then you have to find out where the tension is that it's related to, and then you have to find out tension in between, and then it lets go, and then, oh yeah, that happened. And you will make noise, you will belch, you may fart, you will get shivers as the body starts to let things go. It's important not to get too attached to those things, though, because sometimes a spontaneous release, if you focus on it too much, then it becomes an affectation, right? It becomes something that you're just doing because you're doing it. You're not actually listening to the body. You just, it said, here, do this. So you're doing this, and you keep doing it because the body isn't telling you to stop, because you're not listening, because you're too busy doing stuff. So You relax, you let go, breathe. Oh, and then remember, while you're doing all of this releasing, that what you are trying to do is be empty. So at some point, you should just go right back and remember that you were meditating. The mind is calm and still. These movements are designed to free up the body so the mind can be still. It's not to get the body going and revved up so that the mind has to think about all kinds of stuff. It's to get that out of the way. That's good, thank you. Okay, thanks for sharing. Now we'll go back to here. And that way you can listen to the body and you'll get these spontaneous, natural, organic releases, like those belches, and not just start becoming more of the way that you already are. Right? The idea is to purify and refine and let go. Like that. And then it gets to feel really good. You'll get to a point where you just settled in and you find a spot that's really comfortable and it's empty. And it's like, it's more relaxing than sleep. And you find that you'll do this and you won't need to sleep as much because you're doing this every day. And it feels great. Right? But you'll settle into a place that feels really comfortable. And then after a while you go, oh, why are my feet sore? Well, why is my knee sore? Why is my back? Or why this doesn't feel right? Or my toes are tingling or they're going numb or something. And then you realize that, oh, well, part of your body was relaxed, part that may normally be tense, but other parts are not relaxed. And the parts that should be doing their job are not quite doing it in the way that they should be. So you have to relax and there's so much stuff that has to move, right? Your toes, all those bones in your feet that may have been like hooves, they hardly ever move or articulate. And now all of a sudden those bones need to move and shift and get into position, and the muscles that might be tense on one side have to relax and let go of the muscles on the other side, and your talus bone is trying to find a way to float in there amid all the tension that's going down on top of it. So you just have to let it move. And if you need to take a break, take a break, stretch, walk around. Don't sit down, but if you need to, you can lie down. But try not to do that. Try to stay standing for the whole thing. Now, most people start out with 5 minutes. Okay, they don't start out with an hour. And some people will stand for 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. Some people will stand all day because that's their life. So this is fine. Now, one of the challenges for beginners, of course, is boredom. Yeah. And as with anything, if you can't conquer your own boredom, you're going to have a hard time fighting somebody else. So there we go. This is, I could go into more detail, but I don't want to because, like I said, teaching is not doing. So I don't know if there's a way to check if the volume is working on this, if I'm actually talking to people or not. This is all new to me, remember. So no, there's no way to check the settings, I don't think. But according to this, let me check sound preferences. I'm still using this. Good. And input is happening. Okay, good. So I am still talking. I thought maybe I had muted this when I put it down and had not unmuted when I picked it up. Okay, so after I do the zhan, I like to do a little bit of movement before I do some stretching. And so I do the 10 form Tai Chi. So the 10 form is a very simple exercise. It's often taught to beginners, and it's not too physically challenging, and it doesn't have a lot of low stances, and there are a couple of balancing moves in it. And it doesn't start out with the theme the way that most Tai Chi routines do. It starts out with really basic movements. So it builds on simplicity and then becomes a little bit more complex, whereas the traditional form starts out with achieve enlightenment, and then you have to do everything right because it's based on the fundamental principles that you want to develop through the whole thing. So the 10 form is a bit more, so to say, progressive. And so it starts out very simply. You stand like a tree, you bend your ankles, your wrists, that's Wuji, and then oh. That's the 10 form. Excuse me while I plug your ears, everybody. Oh. Oh, and by the way, the fact that I had a tickle in my throat this morning and I just did an hour of Tai Chi and now it feels better, it's not scientific proof that Tai Chi cures COVID-19, okay? Just to be clear about that. Now, So next, I'll do some stretches. This is something that I neglect far too much. So I haven't actually done a stretching routine. I haven't done a stretching routine properly for quite a while, as you'll be able to tell. So first one I like to do is butterfly stretch. Oh my, yes, I'm very tense today. Look at that. Okay, tense meaning not today, meaning this year, the last few years. You need to stretch every day, you really do. So butterfly stretch, pull your feet in as close as you can. If you can't do this with your feet together sitting on the floor, perhaps you're not flexible enough or have other reasons why you can't do it like this, you can do one leg at a time. You can sit on a bench, put the foot on the bench and push the knee down, and then switch and do the other leg. But I like to do this because I'm combining a few different stretches as I do this. So pull your belly button towards your feet. Remember, you're not stretching to get flexible. That's a side of it. That's a side effect of stretching. Sorry, here. You're stretching to feel better. So don't hurt yourself when you're stretching. I like to pull my feet in and use my elbows to push my legs down. That allows me every once in a while to do a little bit of isometric tension here. So I will contract the muscles as I stretch them and then pull down with my knees. That helps to loosen up my legs a little more, helps the muscles to relax. So I contract the muscles that I'm stretching just for a couple of seconds, 2, 3, maybe up to 6 or so, and then I pull down. And that lets me get my knees a little closer to the floor each time. And then I can pull my feet in a little closer, like that. Oh, and listen to the body, listen to how you are. It's all about paying attention. Relaxing is about paying attention. How about that? English is fun. Somebody posted today, I think it was Pete Bevan, said he's getting all these jokes on his Facebook feed about the coronavirus, all these jokes about the disease. He said, it is a pandemic. Thanks, Pete. So, in, down, push down, and ideally you want to be able to stretch until you get your knees right to the floor. I don't know if I'll do that today. I could. Let me try one more time, this isometric thing. So, up, 2, 3, and then down. There, I'm getting it. It's close, but I'm not going to go right there today. I'm going to do some stretches again later today, and I'll do some every day for the rest of my life. But today, not so much. So there we go. And so now that I've loosened that up, now the secret stretching is that when you come out of the stretch, do not contract the muscles that you've been stretching. So if you've been stretching this way, don't just pull your knees together. Instead, extend your legs like that. There we go. And that will help to prevent some stiffness the next day, or so it seems. And now, feet out. Check your seams. Yeah, okay. And now I'm, okay, this could have been worse. So now what you do is you put your belly button on the floor. Come on. There are two ways to get your belly button to the floor. One is to stretch more and the other is to eat more. I'm going to choose to stretch more. So within a few days, few dozen days, I should be able to get my elbows to the floor and then my head to the floor and then chest and then belly, and should be able to stretch right out. But here, so there are two things we're doing. One is leaning forward at the pelvis. So if you find yourself reaching with your hands, then put your hands behind you. And perhaps there's another way to do this stretch. So this is not a stretching class. This is not a class, not a lesson. This is sort of an introduction to what I do when I'm trying to imitate a lazy Tai Chi teacher who has not been practicing for a long time and has decided to finally get back into shape because his life is at stake. So from here, you grab and pull like that. This is what I do. And I'll slide my hands in like this, push my feet out. Now I'm at the point where gravity helps me now. If I were less flexible, this would be far more difficult. But I can just sit here and relax, read. And je suis en train d'apprendre français, so I could be working on that on my phone right now. And that could be doing that too. And I could be working on my Klingon too. That's not as urgent. So, be learning Italian, that would be nice. La balena non mangiamo la fragola, or something like that, which I think means the ballet dancer does not date with Fraggles or something. No. Oh, no, the only Italian song I know is Priest and Cole and Entilan Chiuso. There we go. See, there, I can touch my toes. Well, that's encouraging. There. How about that? Come on. Yeah. So there, just let gravity be my friend here. And I'm going to do this as long as I feel comfortable. I'm not going to stretch to feel discomfort. I just want to get in there. Oh, I could really get into this. I could spend, this is actually so nice. Oh, that's really encouraging, because sometimes when you stretch, especially if you stretch and you're not warmed up, it really doesn't feel good to do it. But I'm actually feeling really good doing this stretch. That's promising. That's really promising. How about that? Okay. Oh, elbows, come on, get to the floor. Yeah, oh well. Yeah, so stretching is one of those things that can become really enjoyable. So there's a rule that I have when you practice in order to feel good. You choose exercises that you like because those are the exercises that you're going to want to practice every day. But then you get to a certain level where what you need to do is start choosing the exercises you hate and then practice those until you love them. And then you find something else to hate and practice that until you love it. So, which is really the sort of a metaphor for the practice of martial arts in general and life. You know, spend time with things you hate until you love them, and then find something else you hate and learn to love them. Yeah. But don't be an idiot about it. Yeah. So, okay. Now I'm getting to the point where I might start to lose the feeling in my legs. So as I shift back and forth, I can start to feel the sort of tingling. So I figure I've had enough of this. And again, like I said before, because I don't want to just contract the muscles that I've been stretching, I will just lean back like this and let my legs come together. And I'm not just going to pull my feet together and cause more tension. So now I just roll over, I keep my legs relaxed, and bend my knees, come up, and I can start to feel that there. Yeah, come over and get up and stretch like this. Oh, hey, look at that. That's good. Better than I thought I was going to be. Okay, there, work those hamstrings. Let the head hang loosely, and then, oh, this is nice. Hey, brain, have some blood. Oh. Some oxygen to the brain, that's nice. Now, when I stand up, I start by bending my ankles, then my knees, then my hips, and then I start from the tailbone and I tuck it under, and I roll up one vertebrae at a time. Okay. Up until I get there, to the top of my head. How about that? Good. That's good. There's another stretch that is useful for martial arts in general, but everybody can probably stand to do this. Now, this is my version of a piriformis stretch, the lazy version. You put the foot out like this, the knee down, and this is not a lesson. I'm just talking about what I do. So I put the foot out, and then I come forward like this, and I move my chest toward my foot. And that helps to stretch in here. And that feels nice. So the goal, of course, is for me to get my foot to my chest and then put my foot behind my head. There you go. There, you can do that for several times a day, actually, is what I like to do for this one. But so I will, starting now. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Nice and comfortable. I have some ankle issues, and I can really feel that when I start to do this. The talus bone is not quite sitting the way I would like it to. And there's some muscle tension in there. I noticed that when I was doing the standing, I could feel that the iliotibial band wanting to move and release and get a pop in that knee. And some days it happens, some days it doesn't. But there we go. Nice. Ah, it feels good. Ah, yay, stretching. Okay, now the other way to do this is above the ankle, above the knee. This is more precisely for the piriformis. And again, pull towards my foot. That does it too. And eventually I want to bring my knee right to my chest so my foot goes behind my head. And yeah, you know, above the ankle, above the knee. Pull my chest towards my foot. Push the knee down if I like. There we go. Yeah. Oh, how's it going? Hey, doing all right, are you? There we go. And you can also do this. Grab the bench, pull myself into the stretch the hamstrings out. Oh my. This is why I don't kick very high. I'm really short in here. So I'll just do it passively today. Yeah, that's really tight. Maybe I can loosen it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pull. There we go. That's a little bit. Oh well. So I want to be able to grab my foot and touch my head to my toe and put my foot in my mouth. I can do that metaphorically speaking, but not literally yet. So more practice. Some people say that the secret to doing this stretch, to be able to touch your toe, you want to touch your shoe right to your chin, is to have really big shoes. Clown shoes, you can do it like that. But I'm more interested in strengthening and lengthening my hamstrings. And of course, to stretch the muscles on this side of the leg that are used for pulling the leg that way or pulling the knee that way, it helps to lift your foot up. So the muscles I'm stretching now are usually used for bending the knee, bending the leg. So what I want to do is straighten the knee, and I use the muscles on this side like that, and I lift up, and that helps to relax the muscles that I'm trying to stretch. There. So I'll contract this and lift up and pull down use my hands to pull down, and that helps to stretch a little. Yeah, I bet that would work. I bet if I did this every day, my flexibility would improve. That would be cool. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. And again, on the other side, the same idea. This one, trying to decide if this one is more or less flexible than the other. Actually, it's different. The muscles are tight in different places on this leg than they are on that one. And that is to be expected. At least I expected it, because it's my body and it tells me things. And as I was doing the standing meditation, my body was telling me that, you know, this leg's different from that one. So. same idea. I contract my quads, lifts my foot, try to lift my foot off the bench, grab and pull, grab my toe, get there, see, I can do it. Oh. Relax the head and the neck. Remember, it's just a hamstring stretch. You're not giving your whole, it should not be a whole body workout. I'm talking to myself, by the way. This is not a lesson. There we go. And isometric, push down, and then up. Oh, that feels nice. You get that little release in there. Good. So I push down, pull up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and contract the quads. And oh, there we go. Oh. Okay. Good. Check my seams. Good. Self-conscious about the seams thing because, you know, accidents happen. They have happened in the past. So, there. Good. Now that feels better and a little more loose. Now, if I were to do the zhan, it would feel quite different. So, actually, I'll just put this back here. So, that's my warm-up. I do the standing meditation for an hour. I do the 10 form once, nice and relaxed. And then I do some stretching, just for my legs and my hips. Later, we'll do other stretching for the arms and so on. But right now, I just do that. And now I will do the 26-section foundation routine, which is a routine that I created for myself and my students. And it is, it's extraordinary. Okay, plug your ears. Good. Okay. So the 26-section routine is based on the 8 different versions of Yang style that I have learned, and has elements of some other styles in it as well, but it's primarily based on the traditional Yang style long form. And the difference with this one is that it is symmetrical and sectional, so you can practice each section by itself or do the whole form at once. And some days I will just take a section and practice it over and over again, and some days I will do the whole form repeatedly from beginning to end. So this is the 26-section foundation routine from the Sinclair Tai Chi method, also called the Mariposa method by some people. So feet parallel and align, tip of the tongue touching the roof of the mouth, relax the head and neck, sink the shoulders, drop the elbows, sink the chest, relax the back. So relax the ribs, straighten the spine, and relax the psoas muscles so the lower back can open up and the kidneys and stuff can breathe. Relax the hips, the knees, the ankles, and the feet so you can feel the center of the earth a few kilometers below you. And align with the top of the head aligning with gravity so that so that I'm standing like a string of pearls balanced on end. And 26 section from the beginning. Uji becomes Tai Chi. I'm going to take this off. Here, I'll put this on my head. Let me double check audio here. That's testing, there we go. Yeah, okay. So that was the 26 section routine. And that is the one that is the main workout in most of my regular classes. It's very easy to teach in some ways because it is very symmetrical and faces in one direction. So students can follow taking a step. Very rarely do we take a step like this, and only once do we turn around. The traditional form, of course, you're doing things like notorious parts like weave the shuttles, where you turn here this way, then you're going here, and then there, and then there, and the students behind you are, can't follow along. So this routine is designed so that people can follow along through a regular workout, and it's easier to teach because it's segmented and it's symmetrical, so you learn both sides. With the traditional routines, if people don't also do wushu basics, then they end up with a bunch of asymmetrical skills, which is fine in a semantic kind of way. But the number of people who've learned traditional Yang style or Chen style and have practiced the traditional routines for years, but haven't done the wushu basics. So all of the kicks on both sides and all of the stances like wu chuan and so on. If they haven't done that basic curriculum, then they'll go and do Tai Chi for 5 or 10 years. And then one day they come to my class and they'll do the lotus kick with the right, like that, no problem. And then we do it with the left leg and they stare blankly and try to figure out which hand gets hit first and which way the leg goes. And then they go like that. So there's something a little wonky if you don't do the basics. If you do the basics, an asymmetrical routine is fine because it's like being right-handed. Sure, you only do grasp the bird's tail on the one side 13 times in the traditional form, and you never do it on the left, but that's okay because you have the foundation, you have the basics. And if you're right-handed, you don't write with your left hand for balance, although that might be an interesting exercise. But that's the idea. So there are lots of reasons why the pedagogy exists in the way that it does in the places where it exists. I've had to adapt it for the way that I teach and for my students, and to accommodate my pedagogy, both the limitations and the strengths of the pedagogy and the limitations of my own pathology. So I have to develop an art that suits me and my students. And then when they start teaching, they will have to develop an art that suits them and their students. So that's it. The traditional routines, I'm so glad that they exist. I'm so glad that they are preserved because there is so much knowledge there and so much richness in the culture and so on. If it weren't for them, we would not have what we have, and I could not have what I have. But I am not qualified to carry on that tradition, so I create my own. That's my theory. I did not grow up there in those villages. I did not live with a grandfather who trained me 6 hours a day. So I will not be qualified to teach that on that level. It's never going to happen. But in 40 years, I've developed a way of doing it that suits me. So blah, 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 blah. Now I'm stalling, right? Because I don't want to go on to the next part, because the next part is the Chen style foundation routine, which I have never actually performed in public before. I've been developing it over the last 5 or 6 years, 7 years, and it's not complete, it's not finalized, but I still practice it and I teach it to some of my students because I need feedback for developing it. But this routine has elements of the Ilu and Ardu, so the two main traditional routines from Chen style. And there are like older versions, new versions, small circle, large circle, and there are other versions that don't exist in Chen Village anymore, or maybe never did, that I've learned from other teachers. So what I do again is unique. I practice the traditional forms, I practice the standard forms, but I don't teach them because I'm not qualified to do so. So and I I will probably never be qualified to do so. More is the pity. But they those routines inform what I do. I'm not a standard bearer by any stretch of the imagination, but those traditional routines, those standard routines, do inform the stuff that I do. So again, my forms have come from a number of places. I won't tell you now because I don't think that my teachers should be blamed for what I do. It's not their fault. Okay. If you need to know who my teachers are, you can ask me. You can look it up. There's lots of people out there who know who they are. But I won't besmirch their names by commenting on it here. So the Chen style is an older version of Tai Chi. It's the oldest existing version of Tai Chi that we know of, as far as the history is. There's politics involved in history, unfortunately, but yeah, it came from Chen village in China and has some really cool characteristics. I won't get into it now. I'm just going to do it. And again, I apologize for the quality of this routine, but this is not a lesson. This is just me practicing stuff. Okay. Ah, that was terrible, but it felt awesome. Oh, yeah. Well, there's more to that workout, but that's all that I am doing today. Well, this morning anyway. I'll do the rest of it by myself later. Oh, I feel so good. Oh, you know, it really helps to practice. It's really good. It feels so good. I don't know what to say. That's 3 hours straight of Tai Chi. Oh my God. That's my Tai Chi guarantee. Better than sex, or the sex is free. Oh man. Okay, well, I don't know if you feel as good as I do right now. I doubt it. But yeah, I'm going to be posting a lot more online now, and I'm going to be practicing a lot more. And so look forward to some changes over the next few weeks, of course. Anyway, stay home if you can. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Even after this pandemic is over, wash your hands before and after you touch your face, and frequently throughout the day. And clean your doorknobs and steering wheels and door handles and anything that people touch on a regular basis. We'll all be better off. Anyway, very good. More practice. Again.